the Hatfield-McCoy Inn and the real McCoy Trails. Nestled away in the Appalachian Mountains is a gem that few know about. For sure it's no diamond, though it has the potential to bring a shine to every adventure rider's face. Unexpected adventures are so often the best, aren't they? And the town of Manicom, on the border between West Virginia and Kentucky, holds plenty to surprise you. Unexpected adventures? Well, at the 2015 ADV Moto Magazine Rally, I was introduced to a slow-speaking, unpretentious but straight-talking man whose rolling accent made me listen hard. I suspect that my English accent had him double-taking a few times too. Don McCoy was riding a BMW GS 650 Dakar, and hanging on the side was the most unique trail sidecar I'd ever seen. Fully enclosed, the well-sprung, knobbly-tired unit actually leans into the corners in tandem with the bike. Twisties? No problem. In front of me was a man with a passion for both riding and for what his home ground offers. Don has a wry grin that's slow to come, but when it does, you know you're talking to a man of character. The unexpected adventure began to roll when he started to tell me about the trails and routes he's mapped out across the meeting points of 3 states: West Virginia, Kentucky, and Virginia. My attention was caught, and an invitation to visit with him and his wife Kathy followed shortly. In the USA, most of you will know about the Hatfield-McCoy feud, especially after the recent television dramatization of the feud. You'll probably have heard about the Matawan massacre, in which 7 detectives, the mayor, 2 miners, and an innocent bystander were killed. You are in the heart of that country here, and the locals bring history to life with an intensity and passion which tells you that, though infighting between families no longer exists, it's still a vital part of who they are. I soon learnt that, though the feud still pops up in conversations, and full respect is given to their history, the people are more interested in the lessons learned. I was once told that Kentucky and West Virginia mountain people are thick. I don't agree. Oh, and contrary to popular myth, inbreeding doesn't happen. Unlike many of the higher-profile states in the USA, it's against the law for first cousins to marry. But I'm digressing. On the surface, the pace of life in this area appears to be gentle, but I've grown to respect the drive and determination that the original settlers to this area must have had. The gene pool from which most of the locals come is powerful. When you take the time to look, you'll see that the original settlers' strength and ability to innovate exists today. I guess you won't find many flamboyant people here, and that's all part of the charm. This beautiful area is rugged, and even now harsh at times. Survival instinct must have been overridingly intense for the early settlers, many of whom came from England, Ireland, and Scotland. The passion to protect their own and to survive, come what may, must have been at the forefront of their minds at all times. Much of the feud, to my mind, came from those very aims. Add to the mix passion and politics, the Civil War, and the subsequent PTSD for many, the Coal Wars, the greed of strangers, and you have a brew that is as potent as any of the local moonshine. Another vital ingredient is the point that the area straddles the border between 2 very proud states. West Virginia and Kentucky both had their own priorities, honor codes, laws, personal debts, and influences. It was a powder keg waiting to explode. Anyone with knowledge of American history knows that it exploded, repeatedly, and with such an impact that lives were changed, or ruined, and scores of people died. Now, this could be considered to be both fascinating and negative. But when you are nestled in the Appalachians' second deepest valley, surrounded by lush beauty and the set of trails and routes that vein the region, you know that adventures with a difference are about to begin. A ride in the area takes you into a land where history surrounds you in living 3D. Don and his wife Kathy run two businesses. A hotel-restaurant combination called the Hatfield McCoy Inn and Wingo's Grill. The second business is called the Real McCoy Trails. The hotel is a perfect blend of old-world comfort and very warm welcome. As for Wingo's, let's put it this way, you'll never go hungry and you'll be eating surrounded by family and local history. Americana? Oh yes, but only where it's totally in keeping with the area and the mood that Kathy and Don have been so keen to bring alive. Wrapped in southern hospitality, it's the perfect place to relax at the end of a long day's ride. But if you need your own space to unwind, you'll find that too. Don is a passionate motorcyclist and spends every spare moment riding and exploring the mountains on his bike. One day he had a gem of an idea. If the trails are so good, the roads so beautiful and so full of twisties that they make the adrenaline pop, and the area is so dramatically rugged, why not help others to explore? He set about mapping out a series of routes that do just that. With routes such as the Chicken Dumpling Run, the Cemetery Ride, the Feudside Loop, the Ridgeline, and the Melody Mountains Loop, you are taken through a series of rides that leave you buzzing and wanting more. Don told me that's my aim, and the beauty of the rides, which range from 40 to 80 miles in length, is that they introduce people to a part of the world that few ever see. Most of the rides are a mix of double and single lane tar. Some have sections of reasonable dirt. All are completely legal to ride, and a bonus is that no permits are needed. He went on to tell me, I've deliberately kept them this sort of length so that they can act as an introduction to all the possibilities. There are so many side turns off the routes that can be explored too. Riders can make what they want out of them. If they want more dirt, well, there's plenty of that around here. Some of the dirt is at hardcore knobbly tyres only level, where a rider is going to need to be comfortable with those conditions. Yet some are on dirt that will make your heart beat faster, but are unlikely to get you closer to the dirt than any of us prefer to be. Oh, and if a sign says no trespassing, you'd better not. The locals are very welcoming, but when they say something, they mean it. To back up Don's statement, I was out riding with him and had stopped to take a photo. You'll want to do a lot of that. Don was, I hoped, waiting for me further on up the road and round the next bend. Just as I was climbing off my bike, a beaten-up pickup truck pulled to a halt beside me. It looked as if it had just rolled off the set of a movie about hillbillies, and the two men inside were perfectly in costume. Guns hung in the back window, a hound dog yelped at me from the truck bed, and for a moment the deep growl from the truck's engine had me on edge. The driver leant out of his window and said, "Hi, you broken down? Can we help?" Kathy, who by the way is from the Hatfield side of the gene pool, concentrates on making sure that home base runs smoothly and that you are experiencing the finest of that famous southern hospitality. The inn has 5 double rooms, en suite of course, and a 7-person bunk room. While she looks after that side of things, Don concentrates on making sure that your rides are the best possible, the real McCoy. Pick your routes from a giant wall map of possibilities, and he'll supply you with the detailed hand-drawn route maps, go through the routes with you on your GPSs, and if you prefer, he'll even lead rides. I'd strongly recommend that for the cemetery ride and the feud loop. Don could, if he wasn't so unassuming, claim to be one of the key local historians. There are few people who know the history of the land and its people, the feud and current times as well as he does. Don also has a small workshop in case you need to fix a mechanical issue, and has a jet wash if you've managed to get extra mucky on the trails. You can tell by now that I'm a real fan of their setup. But is there anything else for you to do while you're down in Matawan? Actually, yes, there's lots. Their friend Keith will take you airboating on the river. The Coal Museum is well worth a visit, and the replica railway station will take you back in time, caboose and all. You may already have heard of the rugged Hatfield-McCoy trails, which dirt bike riders and ATV fans come away from grinning but shattered. As for recharging your batteries, besides Kathy and Don's Wingo's, there's another restaurant just down the road, and there are pizza and fast food places minutes over the border in Kentucky. Along the street from the inn, Old Town Matawan has a bar, a liquor store, and no town of this size would be complete without a general store. The gas station is about half a mile away. If Don and Kathy's place is full, then fear not, there are several other places to stay. One thing that's well worth doing is taking a stroll along the riverside. Devastating floods meant that flood defences had to be built to protect the old town, and they have been done with class and foresight. The wall is a must-see. The town's history is there in concrete. Does that sound boring? Far from it. The style of the concrete artwork has a tinge of 1920s about it, and I've never seen anything similar. You'll see what I mean. The combination of engineering, practicality, and art is unique. But I've digressed. Go canoeing. Head over to the house that's made of coal, or ride on over to the Breaks Interstate Park, which is home to the Grand Canyon of the South. Bring your folding fishing rod with you, and if you are feeling energetic, you could park your bike for a day and go hiking. With a list like this, it's the sort of place you can enjoy solo or bring your family to. If you time things right, you could be here for the Magnolia Fair, the Hatfield-McCoy Festival reunion, and the reenactment of the massacre. Every year, the Artists' Collaborative Theatre tells the history of the feud on stage. Many of the actors are actually playing the parts of their ancestors. It's that kind of place. So how about getting there? Though perfectly off the beaten track, that's a huge part of the charm. However, good steady roads such as the 119 and the 640 will get you there. And if you fancy something a little slower, then check out the 52. This road loops and curls its way across the landscape, while easing you on through small local towns. The Matawan adventure begins as soon as you start to roll your wheels in Don and Kathy's direction. Their address? US Route 49 downtown, Mate Street, Historic Matawan, WV 25678.